Over the years, there have been quite a few wrestlers who have worked for WWE. In 2019, when AEW came, it provided a platform for even more. While sometimes WWE wrestlers had issues among themselves and some of them joined AEW, others have had arguments or confrontations on social media or real life. This is Wrestling Up, and here are WWE stars that don't get along with current AEW talent. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. The beef between Brock Lesnar and Chris Jericho started because of Lesnar's fight with Randy Orton. While Orton and Lesnar got along in the early days, they never really worked together. It was only when Lesnar returned in 2012 that it seemed imminent that they would lock horns. It was only in 2016 when fans got the opportunity to see the match at SummerSlam. Orton did not really get the chance to go on the offensive in the 11 minutes and 45 seconds of the bout, as it ended with a technical knockout where Lesnar split Orton open to knock him out. As dramatic as it was, the sight of that much blood in the ring left many people confused. At this time, Jericho was appalled watching backstage. He went to gorilla position to check on Orton, who suffered a concussion, only to end up getting into an altercation with Lesnar, who was mad at him for calling the finish BS. Lesnar loudly told him to mind his own business. This pushed Jericho to further question Lesnar, as Brock responded by shoving Chris. Unafraid, Jericho tried to get in Brock's face, only for Lesnar to kiss him on the forehead and reply, "Kiss me back, puss." While Jericho had no intention of backing down, people intervened and broke the fight up when Lesnar responded with his arms behind his back with "hit me or kiss me, bitch." It was Vince McMahon and Triple H who stepped in and ushered Brock away. McMahon approached Jericho on the grounds that he should have been more professional. Jericho unabashedly gave it back to McMahon and told him that he was the one who was unprofessional for allowing this to happen to a co-worker. Unfazed, McMahon stated, "It's a work, what's wrong with you?" During interviews, Randy Orton was asked to address this incident, and he defended Jericho, saying he was only guilty for looking out for him. Lesnar recently made a comeback to WWE, and Jericho went to AEW in January 2019, being one of the company's first major signings. While Sammy Guevara is TNT champion now, during the Speaking Out movement, an old video of him from Raw's 4th Hour podcast in 2016 surfaced where he said he wanted to go Sasha Banks when he saw her at a WWE tryout. He was not there for a tryout but was working as an extra. This was not the only time Guevara's behavior was noted, as Brandy Rhodes revealed Guevara tried to hit on her years back despite her being married. Either way, when the audio of Sammy surfaced, Sasha commented, pointing out the reprehensible nature of it. Sammy issued an apology to Banks on social media and was suspended by AEW. Sasha went on to have a talk with Sammy, and she then put out a statement saying she didn't want to reply to hate with hate. Despite that, it's safe to say Sasha and Sammy are not two superstars who get along. Although Gallows and Anderson are tied to Impact and not just AEW, they appear for the company on a regular basis. The two were among the best tag teams in WWE, however their potential was not noted by the one running the show at the time, Paul Heyman. During the first mass release that came in WWE during the pandemic in April 2020, he decided to cut Gallows and Anderson despite telling them they were safe. Even after being released, Gallows and Anderson were enraged with Heyman, while AJ Styles, their best friend, noted, "It was later I told a friend what was said and he told me what he knew," which is that Gallows and Anderson weren't on the list, released superstars list, but Paul Heyman spoke out abundantly like, "We've got to get these guys out of here. We don't need them. They're getting paid too much." Heyman refused to comment on what really happened, saying that whatever occurred behind closed doors in WWE was for backstage personnel only. It's safe to say Heyman does not get along with Gallows and Anderson. A behind-the-scenes fight with Jericho ended up hurting Goldberg's popularity. This is because Jericho is a good 4 to 5 inches shorter than Goldberg and weighs approximately 50 pounds less, was able to take him down. Goldberg and Jericho ended up fighting because of prior issues in WCW. Jericho was not too impressed with him, and Goldberg went straight for the throat and started yelling in his face. Jericho ended up taking Goldberg to the floor and put him in a front face lock. While Jericho expected Goldberg to get up and fight, he didn't, and just allowed Jericho to keep pushing his chin into his chest. Jericho did not deny any of the claims that he Kenny won the fight, but he's not claiming he dropped Goldberg where they stood either. The issues that stem from their encounters in WCW include the time when they were supposed to work together. Jericho ended up calling out Goldberg on TV where Goldberg supposedly vetoed it. Another time, Goldberg was told that Jericho was staining his reputation backstage. Though Jericho denied these claims, Goldberg went on to confront the now AEW star. This confrontation did not do him any favors. Goldberg himself did not want to be there in the first place. Fans did not really responded well to him moving to WWE, and it ultimately did not work out in a very favorable way. Goldberg is now working part-time with WWE as he's set to challenge Lashley at the upcoming Crown Jewel event. WWE's original plan of having Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 32 were changed due to unknown reasons. The company ended up doing Lesnar versus Ambrose in a no-holds-barred street fight. Fans were optimistic. Sadly, the match was underwhelming. Lesnar in all of the 13 minutes was declared the winner as he hit an F5 on his opponent onto a stack of chairs. In August 2016, Moxley shared his views about Lesnar on the Stone Cold podcast. He said Lesnar was lazy and had not contributed any ideas towards their match. Moxley said the Beast arrived at Mania a mere 3 hours prior to the event. To make it worse, the two did not even talk about their match personally until the second match that night had already started. Moxley pitched ideas for the match, but all 32 of them were ignored. Moxley said, "I think he truly thought he was just doing me a favor. Lesnar thought me being in the ring with him was enough to do awesome things for me. I think that's what he thought. He didn't want to be there." Among the WWE roster, if there's ever been vocal critics of AEW, they would be Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. While Roman has been more humble, he too has made comments about CM Punk not being a real needle mover. With Rollins, there has been no hesitation in bashing AEW, saying this about Kenny Omega in 2019. So if Kenny wants to come and play, like I said, in the major leagues and get out of the minor leagues or whatever, then that's fine. The bottom line is I'd love Kenny to come to me because I'm not going to him anytime soon. Rollins even spoke out against Moxley when the latter went over to AEW. When Moxley spoke down about WWE and revealed internal issues, Rollins said, "I think it's a little presumptuous of him to get on a podcast and talk down about the company that gave him such opportunities. I don't think there's any reason to, again, hop on a soapbox and complain after the fact. You need to take the first step, and that's looking in the mirror and asking yourself, did you do every single thing you possibly could do to make yourself and your situation what you want it to be?" Rollins was loud in his defense of WWE early on in his face run. As a result, it's safe to say he does not get along with most of the AEW roster. It should be noted that Rollins and Moxley have moved past their differences and remain friends. Triple H already didn't like CM Punk when the latter first came to WWE. When it came time for Punk to face Triple H at Mania, the star had enough, as he recalled. Vince was just like, "This is the concussion talking. I can't believe you're saying any of this. You're in the main event. It is a main event. You're wrestling Triple H." And I turned to Hunter and I said, "All due respect, I do not need to wrestle you. You need to wrestle me. I do not want to wrestle you. I seriously resent you for not putting me over 3 years ago when you should have. That would have been best for business, but you had to come in and squash it. And then I had to lose to Truth and Miz. It didn't make any business sense then, it doesn't make any business sense now. And I am in a position now where I can tell you that I don't have to, nor do I want to wrestle you at Mania. I don't care if I was supposed to win," which I was. I didn't care. I didn't want to give him the privilege. Do you understand that? On top of everything, he was fired on his wedding day. He went on to talk about how he and Triple H never got along. I said a lot of stuff in there. I told them again, and Hunter, he was gritting his teeth, and I knew. He never liked me. It's one of those situations where you always hear those stories in the dirt sheets about Hunter says this about Punk and all this negative stuff, but me and him in a room together, never any good vibes. Always negative. The way he would always look sideways at me, the way he always treated me. Punk recently revealed he had been in talks to return to WWE, but eventually chose AEW. It's safe to say Triple H and Punk never got along, and chances are they never will. Trent Barreta is a part of AEW while Kofi Kingston is one of the most beloved stars in WWE. However, when Trent was released by WWE, he was upset with a lot of talent and took a shot at Kofi. Now that I'm fired, I can finally say it. Kofi Kingston is an a-hole. Kofi replied saying, "Trent, I never wanted to shake hands with you. It's not known why these two don't like each other, but the hostility is plain to see." And these were WWE stars that don't get along with AEW talent. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.